Experts are predicting that this will happen to Americans in 2024, and by this, I mean the restriction of our most common rights. Now, I know that this isn't what most of you want to hear, but this is the reality that we're headed for. But it would be very remiss of me not to inform you guys. With the many conflicts that we're entangled in, be it with Russia, Iran, or China, or the problems that Americans face whenever they go to buy their needs at the local Walmart, Target, or even Costco, it's kind of hard to admit that 2024 may be the worst year for many Americans. But here's my question. Would you ever agree to have your rights taken away from you?
The Secretary of State of Maine is saying that Donald Trump is not qualified to be on the ballot in the primary in the state of Maine after reviewing petitions from different people who came to her and wanted to remove Trump from the ballot. I'm still looking through it, but one of the findings here from the Secretary of State is that Trump must meet certain qualifications to be able to be on the ballot, and is finding that he is not meeting those qualifications and thus cannot be on the ballot.
Now, here's something that's concerning that's related to this. There are rumors that some lawmakers are thinking about limiting who can vote, besides limiting who you can vote for. Now, if you ask me, that's basically trampling our rights, is it not? This isn't a discussion about whether or not people should vote for Trump, okay? It's not about that. That is not what we should be focused on. The discussion really should rely on whether Americans should ever have their rights taken away from them, one of which is the right to vote for whoever they want to vote for. But hey, let me ask you guys in the comments, do you think that Americans should ever be limited in who they can vote for? Just comment 1 if you think it's okay to limit who we can choose whenever it comes to the ballots, and comment 2 if you think that it's our right to vote for whoever we want as long as they're running. And while you guys do that, be sure to hit the like button. I really appreciate that, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that, guys. So former President Trump's team is now saying that this is, again, it's an attempted theft of an election. Although this decision could easily be revoked within just a matter of time, I mean, they could probably be repealing the decision right now, even as we speak. In fact, let's go ahead and head on over to Chicago, where talks regarding removing Trump from their ballots, talks that may end well for the former president.
Where does this case stand right now, and what happens next?
Yes, so the case, as you said, has been appealed to the Supreme Court now. And basically, when the Colorado Supreme Court made their decision to disqualify Trump from holding office or being on the ballot, they had put a stay on it until January 4th. The GOP's appeal has now made it so that Trump is going to stay on the primary ballot unless the Supreme Court makes a decision otherwise. And both the petitioners and the GOP have asked the court to act quickly, so we'll find out hopefully soon if the Supreme Court is going to take up this case. If they don't, then the Colorado Supreme Court decision would stay.
And I want to ask more about that because just yesterday, the Michigan Supreme Court actually rejected a bid to remove former President Trump from the state's ballot. So why did this court reach a totally different decision from Colorado?
Sure. I think it's really important to emphasize that the Michigan decision is on totally different grounds. It's a procedural decision. They basically determined that the court doesn't have the ability to take a candidate off the ballot at this time. It's really up to the party to put forward their nominee for the primary ballot. And in Michigan, the petitioners can revisit this before the general election. So this wasn't a decision on the merits. They didn't make any determination about whether Donald Trump engaged in insurrection. They just said that they can't take him off the ballot at this moment in time.
With all of this news of Trump being removed from ballots in many different states, you gotta wonder, why are they working so hard to remove him? I mean, right? Well, I guess that's a question that only you guys can answer. Now, I want to go ahead and shift gears here just for a second, because while it's concerning to say that our rights may very well be taken away from us in some way, it's also very important that we remember what else is actually happening around us. And of course, you guys are probably wondering, well, Ron, what else is happening, right? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because while mainstream media will probably just flood us with talks about the 2024 presidential elections and how Trump should not be a part of it, they're going to probably completely miss the fact that Americans will probably be miserable for other reasons. So look at this from the Washington Post. It says that the attacks in the Red Sea could raise prices for consumers here at home. Now, is that concerning? Of course it is, right? We've got enough problems to deal with. And man, inflation, it really isn't at a level where many of us can say that we're comfortable with what we're spending, right? A strain on the supply chain causes ripples throughout the economy. We've already seen this before, and we could see it again. And at the very end of it, it's us that's going to feel the pain.
One of the world's most crucial trade routes, the Suez Canal, is under threat from Yemeni rebels. Militants who support Hamas who've been attacking ships passing through the Red Sea.
This week, a Norwegian oil tanker was hit by anti-ship missiles and caught fire. Houthi military leaders claim they're acting in solidarity with Palestinians, and that all of the targets have some connection to Israel, but that's far from clear.
And experts are warning if this continues, it could have a major impact on the cost of pretty much everything. And the reason? 7 of the 10 biggest commercial shipping companies have decided the risk just isn't worth it. Those 7 companies make up 2/3 of the global shipping market. And in many cases, instead of going their normal route, they're making the extremely costly decision of going all the way around the entire continent of Africa just to avoid the trouble. The Suez Canal is by far the quickest sea route between Asia and Europe, and it's an important route from Asia to the Americas as well. Any ship passing through the Suez Canal has to come through the narrow passage between Yemen and Africa, called the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, not far from Houthi-controlled territory in Yemen, and where most of these attacks have taken place.
And it saves you about 25% of the time on the journey between Asia and Europe. So it's a huge, vital trade link.
Here's just how vital it is. About 12% of all global trade passes through this canal, including 30% of the world's container shipments. We're talking about $1 trillion worth of goods every single year, from clothing to electronics to cars. It's also a major route for oil. About 10% of global oil shipments flow through this canal. Just to give you an idea, in the first half of 2023, that was about 9 million barrels a day.
This is also one of the reasons why experts believe that 2024 will be one of the worst years for many Americans. The worst years. Not just with politics, but with the economy. The outlook is so bad that banks like UBS, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, they're all saying that the pains of 2023, which are high inflation, higher rates, interest rates, mass layoffs, and just all these multiple economic headaches, these will be considered normal in 2024. I mean, they're not just saying that these problems are going to go away, even though they allude to that. They're kind of saying that Americans will adapt to the point where bad news will be considered normal and good news will be considered an anomaly. What are your thoughts on that? Which now leads me to this last story where 2024 is being likened to sitting on a powder keg, especially with the 2024 presidential elections that is probably going to be going down in history books as one of the most unique elections ever, and a nation that seems to be more divided than it's ever been. Not to mention all the strain that we continue to have with other countries, tensions that will only get worse as time goes on. But I want to go ahead and ask you guys, do you see the United States of America being united once again, or like ever? And will we thrive under all the pressure that all of us are surely to face in 2024? Now, while I don't hold all the answer to these questions, but what I do know is that I will be here every single day of the week, and I'm going to make sure to get you guys the information that you need to know, information from both sides, as we know that there's going to be a lot of friction within our government heading into the 2024 presidential election. Now remember guys, I'm not here for any party, not here for the Democrats, not here for the Republicans. I'm an independent and I'm a realist. I keep the records. I will try and hold them accountable. I can do my best. Can't make any promises though, but I can assure you that I will not forget what Americans are owed. So as always, appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.